Okay, this is going to be the last time that I ever make a video about this. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today is the last time I'm going to talk about Twsbi in an official capacity. I'm sure I may mention Twsbi here or there as far as if I do happen to review a new pen or compare it to something that's very similar to Twsbi. But this is the last time I think I'm going to make an actual video about Twsbi and my thoughts on it as a whole. For those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I have a very love-hate relationship with Twsbi pens. This, I guess, have to do a little asterisk. I'm not talking about Twsbi, the brand, as far as the brand, the big umbrella, their values. I'm not talking about the company. I'm just sheerly talking about my experience with the Twsbi pens. That's it. Okay, now that I've got that out of the way. You know that I have a love-hate relationship with these pens, and I still get tons and 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 tons of questions or comments telling me that I'm crazy, or questioning me, or saying that I'm not giving them a fair shake, or some people are in agreement with me, most are not, and I am okay with that. I am okay with the fact that most people are not, because to be fair, I wish I wasn't in agreement with myself either. It just is what it is. Okay, so love-hate relationship. Why do I love Twsbi? I love Twsbi pens because I think they're built very well as far as the pen bodies. I love the fact that you can fully disassemble Twsbi pens, and I love the fact that they encourage you to do that. They give you the piston, the little screwdriver to undo the piston. They give you the silicone grease. They encourage you to take this pen completely apart. You can buy separate nib and feed units for the pen, so you could have one pen body, multiple nib sizes if you choose to do that. I genuinely enjoy the look of the pens. The fact that they're all pretty much demonstrator pens with just a little bit of color splashed in whatever version of the pen that you have. I appreciate that they do have so many different styles. They've got full-size pens, they've got mini pens, they've got vacuum fill in full and mini. They even have the Twsbi Classic, which I feel like not many people talk about. I did a review on the Twsbi Classic 100 years ago, very, very, very early on in the history of this channel. But they do have the Twsbi Classic, which is a smaller number 5 size nib. Now they've got the Eco, and they've got the Go, and they've got the Swipe, and they have so many unique things. And I love that. I love the fact that while they know what their bread and butter is, and I truly feel like the 580 version of the Twsbi pen is really their bread and butter. It's what they're most known for. Especially the Diamond, 580 AL. I wish they would make more of the Diamond 580 aluminum ones that aren't the R model, that have the little ridges, just because it kind of can get a pain if you dip it too far into your bottle and then the ink gets stuck in there and it's bleh. So I do wish they would stop making as many R versions and make regular versions. But regardless of that, I do really like that. I like the fact that they're workhorse pens. I've never experienced really hard starting or skipping with any Twsbi, with the exception of a Twsbi Mini that I had that had a stub nib on it. That one just sucked through and through. There's no redemption for that one. But yeah, in general, I think that it's great. Why do I dislike Twsbi pens? Well, because with the exception of the single pen that I am holding in my hand, which is the 580, like the Diamond 580 ALR in Prussian blue with a fine nib. This is the only Twsbi pen that I've ever used that is actually a wet, smooth writer. Every other Twsbi pen that I've had, the Eco was actually pretty good. I'll give the Eco some cred. They were probably the closest to the way that I like to write out of the box. But I prefer the 580 build. I prefer the actual pen over the Eco. But this is the only one that writes wet and smooth. Every other one I've had, and I've used every modern Twsbi pen. There's like the Micarta or something like that I've never used, but I've used every other modern Twsbi pen there is, and I've reviewed them all. And if Twsbi comes out with a new pen that's like absolutely new, like when they came out with the Go, they came out with the Swipe, that kind of thing, I still will pick one up just to review it. But I've tried them all and I've sold them all because none of them are to my satisfaction. So I still think that these are great pens. I think that they are, in general, drier writers, to the way that I prefer. And I prefer like flippin' fire hose pens, guys. So when I say that it's a drier writer, this is what I mean by most people are going to be perfectly satisfied with the Twsbi writer. I do not like their feeds. I think they're very frail. So because their nib and feed section is just, or their nib and feed is just friction fit into the section. But their feed is so frail that it is very easy to bend and potentially snap them off. I have bent a Twsbi feed before. Thankfully, I could bend it back and it did not break. But their feeds are terrible. And I wish Twsbi would fix that, because to me, I think that's their only flaw in the build of their pen. They had cracking issues way back when, in the old plastic clear section piece over here. They have since addressed that, fixed it, problem solved. Twsbi, fix your frickin' feeds, man. And their nibs are very, very stiff. You are writing with a nail. And again, that is amazing for a lot of people. Peter Draws, for example, very, very popular YouTuber. I love to watch his content. I think his dry humor is awesome, and just watching him doodle and chat about random stuff is very relaxing to me. But he prefers something like this because it's reliable. You know what you're getting 100% of the time. You know that you can apply X amount of pressure and you will get X amount of line out of that. I don't. I prefer a softer nib where, depending on the pressure I give it, will have a different outcome. I'm not talking about a flex pen necessarily, but like a Pilot Custom 74, for example. That's a very soft nib. It is not a flex nib, but it is a very soft nib. It has some like a bounce to it, similar to how shock absorbers work on your car. This does not have that. If you hit a bump, you're gonna feel it. It's like an overinflated tire. You hit a bump, you're gonna feel it. But some people prefer that because it helps them draw better. It maybe has a better control for you when you're writing X, Y, Z. Insert reasoning here. A lot of people prefer that. I do not. So I think the reason why people get so concerned that I don't like Twsbi is because everyone else likes Twsbi. You know what I mean? And I love this pen. I love this particular pen. It's inked up right now. It has Van Dymine Hanging Lake, by the way, in case you're curious. It's inked up right now, and I will continue to ink it up, and I will continue to use it because this particular pen is nice. Now, I will say it does tend to run drier, just like any other pen, where the first couple sentences you write will be very, very wet, and then it will dry out a little bit because that feed is, of course, super saturated from not being used. It's just more noticeable in this pen than it is in any other. And that is something that happens across the board with me with Twsbi, but it's not Twsbi specific. It does happen with every other pen for the most part, where the feed for the first line or two does just naturally have more ink in it. But the reason why this is going to be the last time I make a video is just because I feel like I'm not offering much new in the way of assuaging. Is that the word? Assuaging? Putting fears to rest, essentially. And it's that if you like Twsbi, my goodness. I like Leonardo pens. You might not like Leonardo pens. I like I'm obsessed with Benu pens. You may not like Benu pens. I don't hate Twsbi. I don't. I think they are an amazing fountain pen. It's just not an amazing fountain pen for me. With, like I said, with this one in exception. I have worked on the nib a little bit. I've widened the tines just a hair, and I would love it if I could remove the feed from the section, and I would actually cut a little slit in that feed just ever so slightly. Do not do that on your pen. You will kill it probably. You'll void the warranty, take your own risk there. But the feed is just so gosh darn fragile that I can't get this one out without potentially breaking it. And I don't really want to do that. But I have modded it a little bit to be a little bit wetter, but I very much love this pen. So I don't hate Twsbi. I have, like, let's say this, okay, is love and this is hate. I have wavered in the middle, kind of like this, and I will probably always continue to do that, but I don't hate the pen. I still recommend it for anyone to either try it or continue to buy it if you like it. I think they're very well priced for what you get out of it. I think the value of what you get out of that fountain pen is perfect. So when people get concerned that I don't care for Twsbi, I think that, and this is just my opinion, I think that what other people are hearing is that I don't recommend it, that they shouldn't like Twsbi, that I judge them for liking Twsbi, because that is absolutely not the case. I wish I loved Twsbi as much as everyone else does, because they're objectively, they're awesome pens. They're just not awesome for me. I am an individual. I am one human against millions of fountain pen users. There will always be a pen that I love that you don't, and that you love and I don't, and vice versa. And that is awesome. That's part of what makes this hobby so great, because there's so much to choose from, and you can really choose your own adventure. And that's amazing. You can make it more universally approachable, as far as like having just a piston fill pen that's a demonstrator, which has been done before. But it is an entry that like everyone knows and can use. So, yes. So, I'm not going to make a video talking about just Twsbi again.
I don't understand. I'm not going to make a video.
Siri apparently wanted to hop in there. Thanks. Just about Twsbi again, unless there's a new pen, brand new pen that I'm going to review. In which case, I've gotten pretty good at staying neutral about new Twsbi reviews. I always mention how I prefer mine to write, and I mention how these write. But objectively speaking, the body, the build, all that kind of stuff is great. I freaking love it. Which is why I have that love-hate relationship, because they're amazing pens. They just don't write the way that I want to. So, and I've had them tuned. It's just the nib themselves. I just smoked my tripod. So it's just the nib itself. So, long story short, the last time I'm going to make a video like this to address it, And then if anyone comments on it, I'm just going to point them to this video. But I will continue to do reviews, like I've said, if something new and awesome and fantastic comes out. So guys, thank you so much. If you've hung on, I don't know on, and you're still here 15 minutes into this video, I very much appreciate you. I thank you for joining me and watching the whole way through. If you did watch the whole way through, right, classic, because I do think the Twsbi classic is not spoken about enough. Hit that like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you want to catch more every Monday and Friday and an occasional Q&A on Tuesdays. If you check out the description down below, you will find a link to my Discord and my Patreon if you want to help support me and what I do on this channel. But regardless, you just watching is support enough. And I will see you next time. Peace. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. Just kidding, that's the beginning. It is time for our Patreon crew shout out. This was filmed as of December 1st, so if you don't see your name, don't fret. I will update it as soon as I possibly can. My two ultimate humans, Daniel Rodney and Comp Dave, and all my VIPs, Susan, McCall Bennett Lawrence, Karen Epstein, Gretchen Peters, Carol Lowry, Michael Simon, Subi1 Kenobi, Catherine Molina, Waylay Chang, Brian Law, Bill Pemberton, Lucas Bell, Robert Myers, Marissa Calvo, Eric Lineman, Stephen Baldwin, DigitalTent.tech, Bobby A. Bailey, Bass, Joan Worthman, Luna Wolf Games, Aaron C., and Glenn Kelly. You guys make it super, super, super possible for me to keep making these videos. No matter what tier you're in, I thank you for supporting me on Patreon, especially those of you who've been with me since the beginning. You mean more to me than you could possibly ever know. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.